I grew up in an environment at a time where everyone in my family demanded a lot from me, especially about grades, and I never admitted it until my friends woke me up to it, which took a long time. Nowadays, they have improved in this aspect, but I still have this paranoia of feeling that there are people demanding things from me, that I'm not doing enough, to the point where if I make a mistake, even if it's something that was not serious, I think I'm the most horrible person in the world, and I've disappointed my family and friends. I'm a habit of apologizing? Yeah, me too. I'm anxious and self-deprecating person. Even though I know it's okay to make mistakes, it's still very difficult to face myself. Any advice for how to be less harsh to yourself? Again, the most effective one is therapy, if you can find it, but obviously not everyone is so lucky. I think that I've definitely been in the same situation where I feel like really anxious about doing things right for people. And it's also really bad for me because with ADHD, I forget about things I need to do for people all the time. And then I get reminded, hey, you didn't do this thing. And I'm like, oh, shit. And it's just in one ear and out the other, you know. So it's a difficult thing to come to terms with. And there is really no easy solution. Again, when you say you grew up in an environment, what this implies is that this is hardwired learned behavior. You know, this is something that you developed as a habit because you grew up in an environment where this was pushed on you and you did that to keep yourself safe. Now you're most likely in a place where you don't need to anymore, but those scars remain. Your brain has changed itself in a way that it thinks will keep you safe. Your brain's only intention ever is to keep you safe and to keep you alive. But it doesn't always get these things right. It's important to remember that we evolved to have these brains at a time when being traumatized by, let's say, getting attacked by a giant saber-toothed tiger or something would mean the difference between life and death, being careful around things that can actually kill us and stuff like that. And so when the brain develops those pathways, it makes sense. But we live in a society where now we don't have to worry about these things, and our brain disproportionately makes us worried about things that we, when we grow up, should not have to worry about so much anymore. This one doesn't have an easy answer. There is therapy and treatment that can be used to rewire some of these connections and to make you feel more okay with your with these circumstances and to help you feel better about it. But the honest truth is they are difficult to find and expensive, and that sucks, right? The solution you need is locked behind so many barriers. So honestly, because it feels so similar to, you know, it sounds a lot like PTSD to me. It may not be that serious, but if it is, I think that if you can manage it, trying to put yourself on a waiting list or trying to earn enough money for an appointment for this kind of treatment would be really, really beneficial for you. There comes a certain time where I need to admit that I can't give you a magical solution. And if it feels like a really hard-learned response to the point where you constantly apologize and you freak out and panic over even the tiniest bits of mistakes, then I think there is a lot to work through for you. What I will say, though, in the meantime, is that you shouldn't doubt the value of good people in your life. If you have friends, I would say to let them know about this predicament of yours. I would advise you to be communicative with your friends, your family, and people that you care about, because they may do something or trigger you in a way that they don't intend to. They may express completely ordinary levels of disappointment if you do something wrong, but what they don't understand is that a little, hey, I didn't appreciate that, will affect you far more than it affects somebody else, and that's not your fault. That's just how you were raised, and it's okay. I would say, if you can, try and speak with people that you trust. Start with people who are closest. If you trust your family, talk to your family. If you trust your best friends, talk to your best friends. If you're in the workplace, talk to the people that you work for, if you trust them as well. Find someone to tell and tell them, I'm trying to seek treatment. I'm trying to feel better about this. But in the meantime, just say, I need you to be gentle with me. I just need you to think about, to let me down easy. I have very similar problems to this. Very, very similar indeed. There are some times where, so a big one for me is I get really scared if I am in a situation where I think I made a person upset, but they're not telling me. What I tend to do is I laser in on their face, voice, mannerisms, everything to try and immediately discern, are they mad? Are they upset with me? Because you don't know what will come next, right? You don't know what will come of that. And sometimes what comes of that, what you were traumatized by, can be really scary, right? So if it makes you feel any better, I'll share a little bit about something that happened to me recently, and I won't give you the details. But it, just to make you realize that the way that we're raised and the things that have traumatized us in our lives are not something that you can just get over. And they're the kinds of things that need a lot of love and attention and treatment in order to feel better. I had an experience recently where so a friend told me that someone was upset with me, right? Another friend of mine was upset with me. And it's like they had thought that they were. They're like, yeah, the vibe, like he was looking at you in a weird way. And I immediately went and spoke to that person in question. I asked, hey, is everything all right? They said, yeah, it's completely fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's completely fine. And even though I'd received that confirmation, and even though I knew that if I had done something wrong, that they had every ability to tell me that in that instance, I was so rattled by the panic of not knowing what had gone on that I didn't quite have a panic attack, but I was debilitated for the rest of the day. I lay down on my sofa with a pillow, and I sat there and I just breathed slowly for about 8 hours. I couldn't move. It was insane. That's something that affects me personally. And what I think you should try to realize, and I'm fine to share that because I want to help, right? These issues can be really, really, really debilitating in a way that other people don't quite understand. Everyone's perceptions of these things and everyone's levels of, what is it I'm trying to say? Everyone's levels of tolerance to different things can vary so much. And once you accept that this is something you'll have to deal with, and maybe one day you'll be able to be treated and maybe you'll feel better, all you can do is put yourself around people who know and who love you and who trust you. Okay? If they trust you and they love you and they care about the situation that you're in, they will take steps, they will move mountains to not put you in those situations again. If someone does, don't let them. Don't let them into your life, and try and avoid them where you can. But if someone is caring, welcome them in, and remember that they really, really do care about you.